Welcome back to Common Sense Homestead. Today we are going to cover, or I guess the term is heal, our potatoes. We have lots of help today. You can see Otis is going to help out. Khaleesi Ray over here, she is also going to help us out. So anyway, so let's get going. All right, so we're going to use straw to do the healing in our potatoes. When we planted them and they first came up, we did a small amount of healing. We probably did it, I don't know, a couple, 3 inches. When we get in there, I'm sure you can see it. Oh, the chickens love straw. That's why we have to put it behind. You can see they just pull the straw bale out and the chickens come running. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're going to do today. As I mentioned, if you get in here, you can see underneath here that we've healed them, I don't know, 4 inches maybe, something along those lines. And so now the next time, or I guess this will be the final time, I want to get them up to, you know, right about here where just the tops of the plants are coming out. We waited a little longer than I would absolutely like to have, just because the front row doesn't seem to have grown quite as fast as the back row. Before we begin, one thing I wanted to discuss is why do we heal potatoes? One of the reasons is it helps with the amount of potatoes that you end up with. If you heal them, supposedly you get more potatoes out of them. So this is our first year to grow them. So I am not sure 100% if it's going to work or not. We didn't do like a controlled test, but I guess if we get potatoes, then it worked out really well for us, right? And I'm not really sure how many potatoes we get. I've seen several people claim to get, you know, from each plant, anywhere from 4 all the way up to 20. I don't know if it depends on the variety. A lot of it depends on your dirt, that sort of stuff. So, but again, the reason that we are healing them is, number one, is so we're supposed to get more potatoes. Number two, potato plants, they do not start setting potatoes and they'll get flowers on them. We'll go over that when it happens, but apparently they bloom. And once the potatoes start blooming, that's how you know that they've started putting off potatoes. Until then, a lot of their energy goes into making these stalks, this part of it. And then once they start making potatoes, there's a chance the potatoes down here will break through the soil and get exposed to the sun. Potatoes are in a family of vegetables called the nightshade family. And I plan on actually doing a video. I did some research on it. It was very interesting to me. Tomatoes, right next door over here, those are also nightshades. And I didn't really know anything about them, so that's something I plan on covering for anybody else who does not know. But back to the potatoes. If the potatoes themselves, if they start coming up and the soil cracks, they get exposed to the sun long term, they'll start turning green. The color green is from the chlorophyll. Same thing that gives, you know, the leaves and stuff, their green color. But when that chlorophyll starts producing in the actual potato itself, they make a toxin called solanine. And solanine is, you know, toxic to humans. It cannot be fatal from everything that I've read. You have to eat a large amount of solanine for it to be fatal. And the potatoes that have that much solanine in them will be so bitter it'd be incredibly difficult to eat. As far as I could tell from all the research that I had done, you can, you know, boiling them, frying them, that sort of stuff does not take the solanine out of them. You can still get it. Basically, if you eat them in small amounts, it'll be gastric distress, you know, gas, diarrhea. It could even lead to vomiting if you get a lot of it. But one of the things that I noticed through reading it is that it can have a small amount of green, and when you go to prepare the potato, you can just peel that part of it off, and that'll get rid of the solanine. The solanine is just in the green part of it, and you can eat the rest of the potato. So anyway, that was something that was really interesting to me. So again, to get into the healing part of it, you know, those are basically the 2 reasons: to increase yield and to prevent the development of the toxin solanine. Another reason that we're going to use it, and we'll use straw specifically, is because the straw itself will help keep moisture in. And our dirt's not the best dirt. You can see we have a lot of luck growing in it because we, since we've started it, we've added a lot of organic matter in the form of leaves, and we go through it with straw. Every year we cover it at the end of the year with leaves. We till those under. We also put light amounts of compost every year. So This soil, it's got kind of a clay base to it. So if it stays wet, not wet, I guess moist would be a better word, although I'm not a huge fan of that word, but damp maybe. We can keep the soil damp. It doesn't get hard, and I believe the tubers will have a much better chance of forming large tubers under the ground. So that's where we're at. That's what we're going to do. The straw obviously will help keep the ground where it'll be nice and soft to where the tubers can grow. A few of the other reasons for healing is because apparently it also helps with pests. It keeps the pests that would eat the top leaves at certain times of the year. This time of the year, apparently there are several beetles that'll come through and eat your potato leaves and that sort of thing. Obviously without the leaves, we can't get the flowers. Without the flowers, we don't get the potatoes. So covering them will leave less surface area for these beetles and such to eat. So, all right, having said all that, let's go ahead and get started with the actual covering the potatoes with the straw. Oh, before we get going, you'll notice I am going to cover it. I'm going to cover the entire 2 rows sort of together and keep the drip line underneath to prevent excess, to prevent a lot of the water from evaporating as the year goes. Today is actually a really beautiful day for May. It's about 63 degrees right now. The high is only going to be about 68. It's, I don't know, about 10-mile-an-hour wind, gusts up to about 18 miles an hour. It's a little chilly. You got a hoodie on. Actually perfect weather for being outside doing this kind of thing. But the potatoes themselves will start growing. The green part will actually start growing a lot higher, I think, during the warmer part, and then supposedly it'll die off in August, but that's something we'll sort of go through together. For those of you who know potatoes and have grown them, feel free down in the comments below to kind of give me an update on what to expect. All right, so here's the finished product. So you can see down here, I didn't quite cover them all the way. I want to kind of see this very last end, if anything, if it changes anything from these to the ones before them. So I left just a little spot down here on the end, as you can see. It'd be maybe 2 potato plants, I think, total that it would affect. So I know it's not, you know, perfectly scientific and all, but hopefully we can just see if it does anything and save ourselves the time. Although I do think that the benefit of covering it like such for keeping the moisture in may be worth it just in and of itself. Also, obviously, the distracting them with their own straw didn't quite work out the way I hope. The chickens are hunting outside of the fence for a way to get in. So, well, that wraps up this episode of Common Sense Homestead. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, share with anybody you think could use the information or might just like to watch it and laugh at me. All of those things are acceptable. You know, anytime that we can get new viewers is a good thing for whatever reason. So anyway, I hope that you folks have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Common Sense Homestead.